2-1.
Put the children to bed. It's time for Dan and Aldo to bare their souls.
I love the Chicago Bears more than I do masturbating, and that is a lot.
Then, with 3 seconds left, Bob Avellini throws a 30-something yard touchdown pass to Greg Latta, and the Bears win, and I literally shit my pants. I swear to God, I literally did.
Eric Kramer, for me, I love the guy. He's a tragic figure. I mean, he embodies all that is.
If they don't run the ball here, I'm going to vomit. I swear to God.
Look, I don't mean any disrespect. He just didn't play that well. Not for a guy of his caliber.
You know, they won, but I'm going to be miserable all week because they stunk.
I don't really have any recollection of that at all, but I guess perhaps I blacked it all out.
So, Dan, tape is the ultimate tool for scouts and for coaches to evaluate players, to detect plays and so forth. And they spend hours looking at tape, right? Why do they so often get shit wrong?
I love the efficiency of bourbon.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dan and Aldo.
Oh, yeah. Aguire, you are on camera. America is seeing you now in red, white, black, blue. How are you, my friend?
I am broke because of a taxi ride. All right, I'll get this bitching out real quickly. I'm at O'Hare. The guy tells me it's going to be $50 to $55 to come to Aldo's. And when we pull up, he says, it's going to be a fare and a half. And I thought, what's that going to be? A fare and a half? Like they throw like $5 extra on it, like a fee? He goes, it's $85.21. I was like, I'm thinking like I no-sold it. I was like, okay, $85.21. Yes, sir. But internally, I thought, you motherfucker. $50 to $55 and then charge me $85? That felt a little egregious. But
yeah,
if the Bears win tomorrow, so be it.
I may have told you a mistake. I may have. Dan texts me and says, what's a good tip? And I said 10%, and so that's what he gave him. And then that's when the guy said,
it's a fare and a half.
Yeah. So he might have been upset with the 10% tip and fucked you over on purpose. Cause I don't think that's legal. He quotes you. He says it's a $55 estimate to get to my house.
And it was $53 on the fare. I saw it. So I thought, man, this guy knows his fucking shit.
No shit.
And it's not being $85, but whatever. Story's over. I'm here. Let's live.
Yeah. King Pookie Nation saying I'm wearing his hat. And this is my hat. The guy with the hat, man, is Dan Aguire. Look at that brim. That is beautiful.
It's hard to get a good orange hat sometimes. It is. Yeah, I like this one though.
And if you move your face to the left, if you look at me, you see the old. Yeah, right, there you go. You see the old bear on the football logo. That's from the 40s, 50s?
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Listen, guys, we have nothing prepared tonight. So when Hairbear says finally some weekend content, I hope we have some content. We're just off the cuff. Dan had plans, of course, to be here this weekend, but I've been so busy and recovering from my health that I didn't know if we were going to do a show. And today I said, let me set up the equipment real quick. And we've got something going here. I think we're going to talk a lot about tomorrow, expectations, and then hopefully interact with you folks who are here live with us. So fire away your questions and comments, and we'll react to that. I want to start by asking Dan, we were chatting about this over dinner. How important is this game in the chapter of the Bears-Packers rivalry? What do you think?
It's hard not to make it about me, not from a narcissistic perspective, but I take all these so personally.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I always think, God, this is the time that this is the one the Bears have to win, or it's going to be, it's just, they're going to be in the dark ages forever if they can't win this one.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I'm upset when they lose again. But this one really does feel like it has that added, like, again, it's like every election is the most important one of your lifetime. You hear that every time. Mitt Romney, Barack Obama, this is the most important. And then, the Trump, the most, every one of them is the most important. So every year the Bears pack is the most, but this one might be because you've got the background of 30 years of winning like 4 games at home or 6 or something in the last, since 92.
Mm-hmm.
I could go through them if we need to, but the point being, with the context of all that losing, and then Rodgers is gone now, and you think the rebuild's in progress, and they've got this other guy you have to beat Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose to them on opening day again at home and give them the bragging rights to say they still own us, or because that's what's going to be said on Monday. Yep. It wasn't Aaron that owned the Bears. It was just the Packers. Jordan owns them too.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love bought the team from Aaron.
Right.
He owns us.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear all that, I don't want to be at the game tomorrow with 66,000 others like just upset and pissed. Because everybody there, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of Green Bay fans, I don't know how many, but let's just say a couple thousand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else is going to feel like somebody died if we lose.
Right. Well, I got a feeling there will be probably around 7,000 Packer fans. They usually attend Soldier Field games. They get their tickets. They will be there. There's a very good chance you'll be seated next to a Packer fan. I hope that they're nice people. Like I've sat next to Packer fans at games, and every one of them has been a damn nice person.
I refuse to talk to the enemy.
Eric,
every time I've gone somewhere, I've been polite to the other team's fans,
Yes.
Usually I'm the road team, but I'm not talking to a Green Bay fan. I'm not. I might say hello, excuse me, or whatever, but I'm not going to be asking them, so what do you think about Jordan? I don't give a fuck. I hope you lose.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you lose almost every game this season. I don't want you to lose too much and get a great draft pick, just enough to like be in the cellar.
Adam Jenkins wants to know if you are wearing an A-Train jersey.
I am from 2001, or no, I got it after the 01 season. So it was in the summer of 02 when I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's 21 years ago now.
It looks in pristine condition.
Yeah, I haven't worn it that much lately. That's for sure, as he left after the 04 season.
Mm-hmm. And Leo gives you a compliment on the hat. Nice hat. It is a very nice hat. Where'd you find that? The Fanatics?
Yes.
Yeah, they got good stuff. New England Bears fan wants to know, Dan gets so much pussy. Can we get a Dan's dating advice segment?
Oh, yeah. I can give you the summary of that right off the bat. Seriously. I'm not some Mac, and obviously I don't look like Brad Pitt or Zac Efron here, but I talk the ladies' draws off of them. I talk their panties off.
And so how do you do that? Are you very forward, or are you charming?
No, you listen to them, man. You listen to them. Like, if the woman tells you a story, fucking be able to ask her a question about it. Like, pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what she has to say. And sometimes, especially if they're really younger, they don't have anything to say. So that's when it just doesn't work. But a mature woman has something to say. And if she tells you something traumatic about her life or something good, just be able to interact with her. Make her feel like you fucking care. I mean, just care. How about that? Just care. And then care about her orgasm. Put forth the effort, make sure she comes, and give her a reason to come back. No pun intended. You got to give her a reason to give you a sequel.
That sounds like an awful lot of work, bro.
Well, I mean, that's the story, though. You got to make them feel important. And my friend Jeremy and I were coming back from Smashing Pumpkins, having the same conversation. He's like, I don't give a shit about the female orgasm and all this. And he's like, I'm just as important as a woman. He's the one that had me reading that right-wing book, if you remember earlier this year, like
Yes, I remember
Why Women Deserve Less,
Yes.
which was an atrocity. But I was like, no, they're the girl, man. Whether you like it or not, the best looking guy typically is not as good looking as the woman. That's a fact.
That's true.
So you do put them on a pedestal a little bit because they're the fucking woman, man, and they deserve to be up there. So you put them there, show them that you care, and listen to what they have to say. And before they know it, they think, he's funny, he's charming, he's charismatic. I think I'll blow him. Thank you. But seriously, just pay attention to what they have to say. Because so many younger people can't even talk on the phone. They don't even want to have phone conversations.
That's right.
So just talk to them, man. Just talk to them. So you got to just establish some fluidity. The way the Bears offense needs to have some rhythm tomorrow. Same deal. You need rhythm in your conversation. You need rhythm in your sex.
There you go. My friend from New England Bears fan. You got your segment there. That's $9.99. Send your check to Aguire. Let's see what else I start here. Hair Bear says, what if the Bears go 0-3 and then the light comes on and JF1 lights it up the rest of the year? I'll be fine with that. I hate to wait 3 weeks.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. If they would lose to Green Bay, they got KC in week 3. And as we know, Kansas City has already lost one game at home to Detroit. I mean, that could be bad for the Bears. Are they going to really lose their first 2 home games to NFC North teams? Statistically, you would say, that's not going to happen. So if you can then deduce that they lose to Green Bay and lose to Kansas City, and it's going to be hot as shit in Tampa, you could say they could go 0-3 or maybe even be 3-0 if they win.
Yep.
To get that rhythm going.
Yep. Yeah, I can definitely see an 0-3 start. You know, I had that Tampa Bay game as a lock for the Bears, but then I started thinking about the weather, and you know, the field turf is going to be 100 degrees when it's early in the year.
We're going to be wearing navy.
Yeah.
Maybe orange, but Tampa's going to be wearing all white to try to get just a little bit of an extra incentive, like with the heat.
Tell people what you told me about the Bears releasing the jerseys.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but there's a Reddit page you all can find. I got to watch my popping peas there. My boss in radio hates that. If there's a pop with your pee,
Sure.
You got to move your head away from the mic.
Well,
so
that's what the windscreen is supposed to stop that, but you got a powerful pee coming out.
Yeah, well, I was just too close to it. But anyway, there's a Reddit page where the guy claims that he called the Reddit topic is the Bears 2023 uniform schedule. Why haven't they released it? Which I've been looking at because I typically want to wear the same jersey the team does the day of. So, but somebody responded on Reddit and claimed that they called the Bears in Lake Forest on Wednesday and asked the lady that answered the phone, what's up with the uniform schedule? And allegedly she said, management has decided they're not releasing that this year. They're keeping it a secret.
I don't think that's true.
That's what the guy
But
claims.
I've looked all over for that uniform release, and there's nothing. There's nothing on their website. There's nothing on Google. I can't find it anywhere. So maybe it's true.
Yeah, and I just wanted to know what day we're wearing those throwbacks, for example, what day we're wearing orange. Like if I'm coming back, I want to wear the right jersey. God, that happened to me in Carolina once. I wore the whole uniform, and my ex-wife was like, God, you're such a fucking geek. But I had the authentic blue navy pants, had the authentic white game socks, and the authentic white Cutler jersey. I had the whole uniform on.
Awesome.
And I get there that day, and they're wearing the fucking navy. Yeah, Carolina went all white. So I was like, man, I don't want this to happen again.
Hair Bear is right. 0-3 and 3-0 are both real possibilities. You know, the big question mark is, what are these Chicago Bears? We just have not had the benefit of seeing them in preseason with the starters. And there's such a turnover with the roster, and so many of the new acquisitions have not practiced. Nate Davis, who was supposed to be one of the prize free agent signings, is now hated by all Chicago Bears fans.
Why is he out? For personal reasons.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you already had like 6 weeks off.
I was going to say, if this guy was at a Burger King, they'd be like, listen, you've taken all your days off for the whole year.
Yeah.
If you want another day off, somebody better die. You get no more. There's no more paid time off for you, pal.
Yep. Will the defensive line be any good? Diaz asked, and that's a very, very good question. Don't know.
I guess they'll start the two, Jones and the guy that we signed from the Raiders, right? Mm-hmm. And the two rookies will be rotated in.
Correct. Billings.
That's who I couldn't think of his name.
Better have a great game. He really needs to attract all the double teams so that Justin Jones, another player you dislike on the team, he's going to be starting at that 3 tackle. He should have a monster game, or maybe not a monster game, but a very effective game if Billings is really going to attract those double teams. So that's something to look forward to. First couple of series, that's what I'm going to be looking at, is those 2 defensive tackles. And if Aaron Jones runs right up the middle for a 20-yard gain, my fucking world is going to stop in front of me. It just better not happen. This Packers team is damaged. Their Christian Watson, their number 1 wide receiver, is out for the game. Their number 2 wide receiver, Romeo Doubs, has a bad hamstring. He will probably play, but be less than 100%. Everyone else will play the wide receiver position for the Packers is a rookie. All of their tight ends are rookies. So the passing game should not be a problem for this Bears defense. It should not. And we know they're going to run more than 50% of the time. We just have to stop that run. And that's what Ryan Poles dedicated himself during the offseason when he signed these linebackers, when he signed these defensive tackles, when he drafted defensive tackles. That was all to stop the run, because you can't win footballs unless you stop the run. So if we lose against the Packers, I am going to be so fucking upset. So fucking upset.
Yeah. Because, again, it just continues the narrative. Like, they keep saying, take the North and never give it back. Well, that's got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
It's got to start somewhere. And, how many times do you hear in every sport, whether we're talking about the Bulls or the Cubs or, you got to win your home games. Mm-hmm. You got to be good enough to protect your home field and then steal a couple at theirs. And then that's when you win championships. Suddenly you can win on the road, but we can't win at home. No, most of the time that we've beaten Green Bay in the last 30 years has been at Lambeau, ironically.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Omar Barrios has a question. I think I sort of just answered this. Here's my question, guys. Should tomorrow's game be determined by the running game, considering Watson is out? Who holds the advantage, the Bears running game or Packers? That's a great question, because, again, we don't quite know. We know Khalil Herbert is going to start. We have an idea that he's going to be a very serviceable running back in this outside zone running scheme that Getsy runs. But we haven't seen enough of new acquisition Deontay Foreman or rookie pickup Rashawn Johns.
He changed his number, by the way,
to number 23.
Yeah, I like the 30. I was like,
me too.
I was like, the only 30 jersey I have is from Mike Brown. Mm-hmm. I was thinking maybe I'll buy his 30 jersey, because everyone's had 23, 21, like those. Like I like the Anthony Thomas 35. Only he and Neil Anderson, Mm-hmm. And it was Rick Caceres 35, maybe.
Rick Caceres was.
Yeah, but for the most part, that's not a popular number.
I agree.
So I was thinking about buying it, but now at 23, to me, Devin Hester's 23 with the Bears. Mm-hmm. Jerry Azuma, whatever. But I don't want another running back with 23 or 21, and that's what he and Foreman both are, 21 and 23 respectively. But fuck it, I don't have to buy their jersey. I just want them to score. To answer your question, on paper, I think Green Bay has the better back right now. But, again, that's based off his reputation.
Right.
He's stout. But you know what? The Bears, they got a good – it appears to be a good draft pick of a rookie. Foreman looked really solid in Carolina. And, Herbert, if he can pick up the blitz, could be a 3-down back, it would seem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm super anxious to see this Bears rushing attack, and I do hope, as much as I want to protect Justin Fields, I do hope that there are about a half dozen designed run plays for him. He's much less susceptible to get injured running the ball on a design play than he is just scrambling around and running for his life, because that's a frenetic situation. On a designed running play, something that he's rehearsed in practice over and over and over again, he's probably been told at this time, look to slide and things like that. It's just highly unlikely he'll get hurt. So got to have that influence of his taking off with the ball, got to have a good running attack, and then got to have good play action.
Yeah, and not to interrupt you, but the thing that was so asinine to me last year when they got into this, okay, from Miami on, Justin's going to be, running the ball more. We've implemented that into the offense, but it was that same running play that was essentially off tackle or a sweep if he were the running back, but just he's going wide left. They ran that same play repetitively.
Yes. And,
it's like, okay, if you want him to run the ball, like, do you have to call the same play? It's like Getsy does that all the time. That bubble screen I've bitched about for years now. And that run where Justin goes left, it's like, you don't have to be Matt Nagy to try to be cute and bring a tight end in to hand the ball. You don't have to do anything stupid like that. Or they come running out in unison out of the huddle, like doing river dance or whatever the hell they were doing last year. I really hated that too. But, at some point, let Justin have a different play. Something they haven't seen before,
Yep. Dan is talking about Nagy because during dinner I told him, that the biggest reason the Chiefs lost to the Lions wasn't the drop passes by the wide receivers. It was Nagy abandoning the run yet again.
God.
I mean, they were running the ball effectively with Isaiah Pacheco. And I think he got 3 carries in the second half.
He's solid too, man.
He is a stunning back. He's a stud back.
And a 7th round pick.
7th round pick. How do you find them, huh?
Yeah.
So Matt Nagy is Matt Nagy. And then when what's his name? Well, you didn't see the game, but the head coach of the Detroit Lions,
Dan Campbell.
When he decides to go for it, his play calling in the fourth quarter, I asked a question on Twitter: who's dumber, Matt Nagy or Dan Campbell? Because they were both making bizarre moves. I didn't understand it.
Hey, we got to give Dan Campbell credit, though. Again, their last 2 games on national television, they beat Green Bay in Rodgers' last game.
Yes. And
now they've beat the reigning defending Super Bowl champions in their coronation game, their homecoming game.
Yeah.
Where they got the rings.
Yes. Kudos, Don Burr. Like Dan Aguire just said, those last 2 victories for your organization are huge. Are definitely huge. You do that, you fucking not. And I just saw that game. The NFL Network replayed it it was sometime earlier this week. It was on, and I watched most of it, and it was a very impressive victory the way they came back. You and I watched it from a hotel room.
Yeah, after the Minnesota game. I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, man. So I was at the last Bears game, and I'm going to be at the first one. It just feels like, man, that really does feel like last year. It's like it's the same year, like in theory, because it's January 22, but it feels a long time ago, that Minnesota game.
It does. I want to look at the box score of that Lions game, because Don Burr is saying that the Chiefs were not able to run on the Lions. And so I don't know if that's quite true.
Well, when you're Matt Nagy, it's hard to get into a rhythm, because he doesn't know how to call running plays.
Yeah, that's part of the issue there, Don, is, you got to stay committed to the running game in order for it to bear fruition. But Isaiah Pacheco had 8 runs, 23 yards. His long was 7. So, yeah, he wasn't, You
said he had 8 carries?
8 carries.
I mean, that's unacceptable.
Exactly. And then 6 carries for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You can't have just 14 carries with your running backs. You can't. You're not giving your running game a chance. All I know is that Pacheco, and maybe I'm confusing a little bit because Pacheco did catch 4 passes for 31 yards, including a long of 10. So, I just felt like Pacheco should have been in the game much more and should have been touching the ball much more. And the same thing about Jahmyr Gibbs. And I'm not saying this because he's on my fantasy team. I just think Jahmyr Gibbs is a stud running back, and David Montgomery is a acceptable, hard running, third down back, goal line back. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a star in this league.
I saw where you shared a video of Montgomery just getting pancaked.
And then he kicks the guy.
I can't say pancake because that's a buzzword, but the pancake, however he said it, I don't know. But yeah, man, he got really run over. Is he number 5 in Detroit?
Yes, I think it's 5. Yeah.
You get the impression he'll be on his 3rd team next year, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, they've got their guy.
Yeah. Speaking of Swift, the Chiefs averaged 3.9 yards per carry, only 3.5 for Lions. Don Burr just makes stuff up. Yes, Don Burr. Hair Bear says the bald fuck was running play action with an empty backfield.
That's so true.
That was a fun game to watch, but and somebody earlier, I think I started this. Yeah, somebody earlier. Oh, here it is. Mr. Mayhem said the Lions beating the Chiefs was a fluke. I don't know if it's.
I'll take it. If I'm a Lions fan, if I'm Don Burr, give us the fluke.
Yeah. I mean, Travis Kelce wasn't playing, so if you want to count that as a fluke that you're one of the star guys is out for the other team and you take advantage of that, it is, game could have gone either way. I'm not going to besmirch the Lions for taking advantage. They did win on the road in Kansas City. Kansas City was favored to win that game, should have been favored to win that game, and should have won that game.
Yeah, most Super Bowl champions, most of the time, they win that opening game.
Mm-hmm.
So for Detroit to do that, they deserve immense credit, for real. Like Campbell, we can say he says crazy things, and he does. I'm going to bite their kneecaps off. They're going to take their kneecaps off and drown their children. Like, he sounds like Mike Tyson leading up to the Lennox Lewis fight sometimes. but fuck, it's working.
Yeah,
it's working right now.
It's working. Speaking of working, we're hoping to see Chase Claypool start to work in this Bears offense. And there was something on Twitter today. I'm not quite sure where the source.
Don't tell me he's hurt.
No, he's fine. I'm not quite sure where the source was. Yeah, Tanya and I will talk about that briefly. But Claypool said something that was very encouraging for Bears fans. He said that when he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they knew what were the best routes to run him, which was basically going vertical downfield, going on deeper patterns. And in the 3rd year with the Steelers, under a new offensive coordinator, Ben Roethlisberger had left, they were running a lot of crossing patterns, short slants, and so forth. And that's not his strength. And he says he feels like Luke Getsy is really, really tailoring the pass plays designed for him in a manner that's going to take advantage of his strengths. And so if you take Chase at his word, now that he's fully healthy, now that he's got an offensive coordinator who appears to be relying on his strengths as a route runner, then Claypool should have a good day tomorrow, because Jaire Alexander is going to be on DJ Moore every fucking play. I think the Packers have already signaled that they're going to have their best cornerback on the Bears' best wide receiver. So Darnell Mooney and Chase Claypool should definitely have good days tomorrow, especially if the pass blocking is well. What's your level of confidence with Chase bouncing back this season on a contract year?
Again, like you said, it's like, and I'm sorry, I feel like I have spina bifida over in this chair. I keep moving. I can't get comfortable.
I'm sorry.
No, the chair is nice. I think it's just where I'm used to, because I'm tall, I sit low and it's high. And I'm sorry that I'm moving and fidgeting a lot is all I'm saying.
Do you want me to get you a different chair, one that has a sturdy background? I'll run and get it from the kitchen.
No, God, no. I was just explaining why I'm moving a lot in my box. That's all. I feel like it's PTI, and you see Wilbon's not moving, but for some reason Kornheiser won't stop. Anyway,
I can give you a bigger box. Let's see how I do this. I'm going to give you a bigger box.
No, I'll take the box that I have. But the question was about Claypool, right? And like you said, he and Mooney both are playing for contracts.
Right.
So it's a big game for them. And again, like you said, their main guy, Alexander, is going to be on DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then make some plays. I mean, neither one of them is going to get double teamed.
That's right.
Unless for some reason it's a formation where or maybe Moore gets the wind knocked out of him and then goes out and like, okay, well, we're going to, bring the safety over and on whichever, but for the most part, that should help Komet as well. Mm-hmm. It's just like you said, what about the pass blocking? Nate Davis took the summer off, the summer of me, and he got a pile of money and didn't work all summer. I mean, it's great. And so now your backup tight end's hurt. So if Tanyan's out, you have to think that St. Brown's going to be active then because they're going to need an extra blocker.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you'll see Mercedes Lewis some more. So I would say that Valus will be your kick returner then, and they'll have St. Brown active and the rookie 13. What? Help me out here. What's his name again?
Scott.
Yeah, Tyler. No, is it Tyler Scott?
Yes, Tyler.
Okay, all right. I'm very, very tired. I don't think he's going to be active tomorrow, as I think Valus is going to be returning the kick. So anyway, on paper, Claypool and Mooney should both be open on single coverage, and it's just up to Justin to complete the throw and up to the guys up front to please block for him.
Right.
Can Lucas Patrick get through a game?
Well, that brings us to that topic, the offensive line. It's like I said this the other day. It's like these 5 guys are going to line up for practice before the game tomorrow, and they're going to all shake hands and introduce one another. Okay, you're playing center, right? Okay, I'm over here at left guard. Okay, and what position are you playing? It's going to be weird. Oh, Nate Davis. Yeah, I remember. I heard your name.
We saw you. We saw you when you were here.
Yeah.
No one's played with you, but yeah, we've seen you.
It is scary to think that this offense, the offensive line is basically playing their first game together when that unit, since we were kids, we've learned that you got to have some cohesion with the offensive line. There's no fucking cohesion going on with this offensive line. They're all meeting each other for the first time. And they're playing against a pretty good defensive line. That Kenny Clark guy in the middle, he could wreak havoc on Lucas Patrick. He might be licking his chops.
Remember, he finished a game off with a sack on Justin in Justin's rookie year, I think, the game at Soldier Field.
Yep.
I'll use an analogy with a car. It's almost like I only know how to drive an automatic, but I'm taking the clutch out to the game tomorrow, and I'm going to figure it out. Along the way, I don't know how to drive a clutch, but I'm going to figure it out. That's what the offensive line is. We're going to figure it out.
That's about right. Everywhere says they'll put 7 and 8 guys in the box until JF, Justin Fields, hits Claypool or Mooney for a touchdown, and then the score will be Bears 35, Packers 12, and the dust clears. There is that. That's Hair that's really perceptive because I got that feeling too, that's what's going to happen. They're going to, the Packers are going to line up a bunch of guys to stop the run, and they're going to challenge Justin Fields, and it's going to be a mistake because Justin Fields is finally going to show us that he can withstand that pass rush, stay in the pocket, and make that difficult throw. And one of the things that I think a lot of the so-called experts, national media people forget is that the chemistry between Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields is really already pretty fucking good. It's not like it has to get better. It was always a solid number 1 quarterback to a number 2 wide receiver. It was always that. Now we got the number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore. So the only question mark in my mind with the receiving core is Chase Claypool. Can he find his niche with this offense? And I don't care if he catches just 3 or 4 passes a game, as long as 1 or 2 of them are explosive plays over 20 yards. And I think that he's also a very good downfield blocker, so he's going to help the game. Chase Claypool is one of my players that I'm going to keep a close eye. Lucas Patrick is another guy. Who do you got your eyes on, Dan Aguire, that you're really interested to see how they're going to do tomorrow?
I think if things are going well, that we'll see Valus. And it could just be that little end around where it just pops in and he goes and maybe gets 20 yards. But, you know, the one thing that he did well last year, I mean, he was okay on kickoff returns too. Let's give him that. But the one thing he did well toward the latter part of the year was to go deep. He had a big catch late in the season. Again, it was against Buffalo maybe or Philly. I wouldn't be surprised if Velus is kind of, I'm in the game right now. No one notices and I'm going long, you know?
Yeah.
I could see that happening. I could write a script for that. But if you're asking me who I'm most excited to see, was that the question?
Yeah.
Man, I guess Fields. I mean, because he's electric. We know he can run the ball. We know he's going to run the ball. And that's a strength. So it's not a negative for us to see him run. I think that's part of the narrative is that, oh man, if he doesn't throw for 350, then it's a failure. Fuck that. I mean, one thing he can do really well is run. So if we see that, that's okay.
Absolutely.
Just stay healthy, slide, you know, don't take unnecessary risks.
Right.
But so we're going to see him run, and that's exciting. We saw against Miami all the way to the house. That's fun. And then now we'll see some of the passing too. Hopefully that has come along some. And so, yeah, he's the guy. I want him to play well. I don't want any talk of Tyson Bagent, whatever his name is.
Tyson.
Yeah, we don't want to hear about that. Let's see Justin be the guy and win the game.
Absolutely. Yeah, when it comes down to Justin, what I'm most looking at is standing in the pocket and not immediately panicking, because I saw this way too many times. He would get rid of the ball before he had to. He would give up on a pass pattern well before he had to. And the processing was just not quick enough. And so those are the two things that I want to see him really improve.
If Justin were here, he might say, like, if we gave him truth serum, he can't go on the Barnum Network or anywhere else and bury his teammates, because that would make him everything they said Jay Cutler was.
Right.
Not a good teammate. But if he was down here in the basement, he might say, come on, man, I had Sam Mustipher fucking snapping the ball and getting knocked back into me every other pass. I had a rookie at left tackle. I mean, who did okay. He's just like, man, I was doing the best I could to survive. So I think that's what Justin would tell us if he really had to tell us the truth. Sam Mustipher was awful.
Yeah.
He was getting pushed into the backfield like every other play.
He's on somebody's practice squad right now.
Thank God it's not ours.
You know, I agree with that. You know, not having the supporting cast is going to affect the way that you play. There's no doubt about it. But the great ones will still find a way to find that open wide receiver. And when you have a clean pocket,
that's true.
You have to, you know, how they talk about forget the last play. You know, and I know that's hard to do. I could never in my fucking life.
Especially if you're a corner and you get burned.
Right. But the same thing like with a quarterback, you get sacked, and then on the next play, you got to fucking forget that sack, because you could go back to pass and have a clean pocket, but you're still thinking about, man, that fucking last sack really hurt my ribs.
Yeah, my ears are ringing.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to get rid of this ball. I don't give a fuck where it goes. And I'm exaggerating, you know, but that's the problem that I have with JF1 is that sometimes there's open guys out there.
We saw it in the preseason game, the JT O'Sullivan highlight where he had someone down the seam.
Yep.
Pardon me, and it didn't even make the throw.
Yep. That's the stuff that I want him to grow out of.
That's what Dan Hampton was saying, or not Hampton, Ed O'Branovich was saying that he can't read a defense. He doesn't know when someone's open.
Yeah.
And of course, Dan would fight him on that. I hope their show's on tomorrow. I don't know
if anybody knows in the chat room if the Hamp and OB show, or is it OB and Hamp?
Hamp and OB.
Hamp and OB.
And Kozlowski's on there sometimes.
Yeah,
Glenn. But you were telling me that the show, or at least at some point, hadn't been renewed, right?
I know. Well, that was last season that it wasn't renewed, and I know that O'Branovich was campaigning to get back on, because I don't know the status of if they're going to be back on in 2023. So if anybody knows, I
tweeted WGN, they didn't answer me, or I X'd them, whatever the fuck you call it now.
Yeah, I think it's post them.
I posted them.
I don't know what
I was like Charles Oakley in the post with the Bulls.
Hair Bear, see, that's the thing. He doesn't want to see slants. He wants to see vertical passing routes. He wants to see deep cut ins, cut outs. Claypool says he's not a slant kind of guy. At least that's how I understood that article, or that blurb from an article. Bears Country Podcast says, Aldo, Dan sounds just and well on your home sound system as he does on High Pro system. Well done. Oh, thank you, Mr. Dan. The other Dan
who calls me the other Dan on his show.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
He says, you're the other Dan now, motherfucker.
I am really happy with the way my wife did most of the work on putting up the posters and stuff.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, and so we're always making some changes here to the man cave, and I'm hoping that people can come and visit and hang out with me and do some one-on-one interviews, just like Dan and I are doing now. So get a hold of me somehow. Anyway, back to the Bears. So let's talk about this Bears defense. Besides stopping the run, do you have any concerns about other parts of this defense?
Yeah, you got to be concerned about everything. I mean, it feels like for years it doesn't matter if Khalil Mack was still here and was still playing well, that they always come out just flat and let the other team score in the first drive, especially against Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, Rodgers is not here now, but Green Bay would always seem to be up 7-0 as soon as they got the ball, even if the Bears made a game of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the defense never makes a stop early, so that I want to see them get off of the field. And of course, you got to worry about the rookie corner. He's probably going to get a PI or something, just because that's the way the refs play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're a Bear,
mm-hmm.
You're going to get illegal contact or PIs called on you. How's he going to respond to that? How well are the safeties? I mean, they were missing practice earlier in the week. They were in full participation, thankfully, but are they ready? Mm-hmm. And it turns out, I said on Tuesday, I wonder if it was not to pat myself on the back, but we're talking about Brisker. I was like, I wonder if it was a groin. And that was what it was on the report. I was thinking if it's a groin or a hamstring, that's something that would take a couple of weeks before you feel going full speed again, your fucking balls or your hammy. So, but then in Eddie Jackson too. So, you got hope they're healthy. The corner plays well. I mean, Kyler's got to be better. Jalen's playing for a contract. Get that interception. It's just the whole thing. It's like, are the linebackers? Is Edmonds ready? Mm-hmm. He wasn't against Buffalo.
Didn't look ready. That's
so
right.
Yeah, the preseason was just kind of thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I was so upset, because I thought that you could utilize the preseason in a manner that actually got the team ready. It's like you were taking a big exam and you just shit on all of your practice or your study time. You're like, I'd rather go out and get pussy and get drunk and not study. Oh, now we got the big test tomorrow. We could have used those other little exams along the way to see where we were doing for progress.
Yeah,
but maybe somebody was hurt. I get it. But it just feels like the preseason is it's just there now. It's not used to actually get ready, because even if everybody was healthy, they would say, well, we don't want to put anything on tape.
Right.
We're going to be vanilla. Well, why not just try to work on and get everything ready? I mean, and just be sharp on week one.
It's so secretive nowadays. It's unlike, Vince Lombardi at the chalkboard diagramming the play. And that's the play they ran 20 times a game, at least. And it was, who's the better man? And now it's all about, the coaches with their strategy and schemes, and don't want the other guy to see it because they might figure out a way to stop it before we run it. So it's a different game. There's
and
no
as soon as
it.
everyone caught on the Green Bay sweep, finally, they missed the playoffs for like 15 years. So let's hope we get that. They go back to some Green Bay Randy Wright days.
Very true. Very true.
Where's Len Dickey? Is he still alive?
Well, and here's another thing that I don't know if a lot of people have been talking about it, but David Bakhtiari, the all-pro left tackle, he did not play all preseason, hardly practice. I don't know if he practiced at all, and didn't practice any day this week, but he has not been ruled out for tomorrow's game. If he is out tomorrow, I think that right end for the Chicago Bears, Yannick Ndakwe is going to play the right end, right? Or is he playing
Let's
the left
hope.
end? Whoever's over their left tackle, their backup left tackle, has to get a couple of sacks and a couple of pressures.
But I'm not going there because, like I told you earlier, I said it sarcastically when I first arrived. I was like, that guy's hurt all the time. And the Bears always make a big deal out of it. Battieri's not playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it never ends up being something they take advantage of or exploit ever.
Well, and I believe that at least in one of the games I recall, they put Elton Jenkins. Elton Jenkins.
Elton John was on the field?
No, Elton Jenkins, I believe his name is, who's playing left guard tomorrow. He's usually plays
he's
the
good.
interior. Yeah,
he's good.
He's very good. He's versatile, and so he moved to that left tackle position, had a very strong game. But I got to believe that, and I saw a couple of Packers press conferences. They bragged about the depth of their offensive line and so forth. But I still can't think that you take David Bakhtiari out of a game and that offensive line is going to be as good as it was before. Then why pay the guy the millions of dollars?
Because he doesn't give up sacks or hurries when he plays.
Well, here's the other thing. I saw this. And I know you're going to fucking agree with this to the nth degree. Cody Lang, remember him? Was it Cody Lang? He used to play left guard for the Packers. TJ Lang.
Went to Detroit too, right?
Yes. And so he does not get called for a hold in his 3 or 4 seasons with the Green Bay Packers. Maybe got called for a hold once. With the Lions, in one game, he get called for a holding 3 times. And so he's asked about that after the game. What happened? He goes, I'm wearing a different uniform. Oh, what does that mean, Dan Aguire?
The Green Bay is like America's fucking team, If there's always, I don't want to like upset anybody and go political here, but there's always sort of okay, in the NBA, there was a sense that people wanted Bird to win because he was white, whether that's true or not. But there's a narrative there, right? That like the great white hope sort of thing. Green Bay is always sort of the last like notch of the white team, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, they just seem like a team, a bunch of fucking corn-fed boys were playing. And maybe that's not fair because they had Reggie White and a lot of black players, but I'm just saying, but there's the perception that they're like the good old boy, America's white boy team.
Yeah. So
they always seem to get those calls, man. And I'm not saying that there's a conspiracy to help them because of it, but every year it seems like he said, hey, I'm wearing a different jersey now. The Green Bay always gets the calls. The only one I can think of ever that they did not get was that Monday night game in Seattle when they had the replacement refs with that little fucker, God, I can't stand him, Golden Tate. Caught a touch. They gave him a touchdown even though he was out of bounds or whatever.
Yeah. Was it Golden Tate? It
was Golden Tate, who later went to Detroit and then had that game-winning touchdown against us in the Parkey game on 4th down with the Eagles.
Because the Bears had a guy named Golden Tate.
Golden Richards.
Thank you.
Yeah, Golden Tate was, I think, at Notre Dame. Maybe was he a Notre Dame guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but yeah, he's caught that game-winning touchdown for Philly against us. He always beat us with Detroit, and he started out with Seattle. Yeah, but we got Golden Richards from Dallas when why did they trade him? I'm trying to think. Is I guess the emergence of Butch Johnson, if we're going back to
the day. Goodness, good memory.
Yeah, who later went to Denver as well.
Zach says shows on Saturday night and Dan on video. What the fuck is happening?
Dan, I've had about 3 hours of sleep for 3 straight days too. Like yesterday, I couldn't sleep at all because I was thinking about, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like the flight and all this, and plus my broadcast. And then today I had to get up because of the flight. And on Thursday, I couldn't sleep either for some reason. So I'm very, very tired. I love being here. I'm glad we're doing it. I'm just saying if I'm yawning and shit, I apologize. I'm very tired.
You're okay, man. Zach, Dan is in Chicago. He's in my home right now, and he is headed to the Green Bay Packers game tomorrow with Jay. Do we know Jay's last name?
Yeah, it's Bonds, like Barry.
Oh, wow. Okay. Tell people about Jay Bonds and how much he is a fan of our show and the friendship you guys have struck up.
I'm embarrassed to say it because I don't want to seem like I'm just giving compliments because they're about us. But Jay has told me several times, like he found our show and that kind of is the one he likes the best, and it sort of led to him listening to other podcasts, but all that started with our show. And that's humbling. And when we had the barroom event last year, he drove 4 hours just to meet us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I remember at the time, because I had the girl with me, I was like, look, I feel like I have to spend time with them now. Like, I mean, not that I didn't want to, but I was making sure she knew. Mm-hmm. Because if somebody's driving 4 hours to meet you, you can't be a dick to them.
Absolutely.
I mean, even if you don't think you are, if you're not showing them enough time, they're going to be like, motherfucker, I drove 4 hours and he talked to me 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. As we know, that happened with Heidi and someone. So when she went to a game in New York a few years ago, I'll leave it at that. You don't want people. Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
Just you don't want him to feel like he came this way for nothing. So
absolutely.
And as a result, I think he and I were cool, and his cousin, we were all cool at the event last year, and he just got in touch with us, and he's kept on. There's a reverb going on with the mic now.
He kept going. Go ahead.
Well, there's a reverb on the mic. No, but he just, we've kept in touch. He listens to the shows. He gives us feedback, and he's going to go to the game tomorrow. And it's his first Bears game ever.
All right. So here's what I've been trying to do while you're talking. So, Jay, have fun at your first Bears game. I wanted to show a different shot of you. How do I do this without me fucking this thing?
I don't know what you're doing, so I can't answer your question.
Let me see here. Hold on a second. Okay, so I don't want the camera pointed at me. Oh, I see. I have to do it this way. I want it pointed at you.
Okay.
So the reason I'm doing this is because I want to show Zach Sullivan that clock over there that says The Godfather. It's right above Dan Aguire's head. That was no, right over there.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, that was something that Zach made and sent to me. So thank you very much. It's been up on. I actually put a new battery in today, so I wanted to make sure. There's the entire setup here. And, oh my God, this is my fucking battery.
Oh, that's as I say, I can see the scar, or it's probably going to be a scar, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good fucking looking thing. Let's see if we can get a close up of my arm. How's that? Holy shit, man!
The blood clot heard round the world.
Fuck, man, that is awful. Anyway, enough of that. That was not planned, as you can tell.
Well, the bottom line was that Jay was a fan of our show, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And we struck a friendship up, and he's going to go to the game tomorrow. So
he's a great guy. I got a chance to talk to him at length. He was with his uncle at that event. I think it was his uncle or cousin.
It's somebody related to him.
Yeah, both great guys. And I'm so glad that he's making that 5-hour trip here to pick you up, take you to the game, and then drop you back off, because he lives in
Michigan somewhere.
Michigan, so he's actually got to drive past Soldier Field to pick you up, and then basically do the same thing. So it's shows what a good person he is to make that trip.
Well, to be fair, given the free ticket though, it's a good trade.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But you're right though. It's very appreciated that he's coming. I appreciate that immensely. And Sonny was going to come, but something happened. His son has a game or something. I forget exactly what he said, but I think he's a good guy too.
Yeah. A lot of good guys here at the barroom, barflies, whatever you want to call them. Cliff is one of those good guys too. So I can't wait to meet Cliff someday, and Zach, and it would be nice if we could plan a event at, I don't know if it has to be even in Chicago, like at a Bear Viking game or wherever, where we could get a lot of people that'd love to meet people face to face. J2K, I know, is fucking traveling throughout the western part of the United States, I believe. J2K, what are you writing there? Yeah, it's been a while since Texas was. Oh, he's watching that Alabama-Texas game. And so, this has been great fun for me, man. The barroom, meeting so many great people. Met a couple of assholes too, but we won't get into that.
I was going to say, can we name some names?
No. I get myself into too much trouble. Back to the game. You're talking about we're talking about the defense. I don't know if I'm putting way too much expectation into the Bears' performance, but I fully believe that this Bears defense should clobber this Packers offense. And it's not to say that they're not they don't have weapons. They do. They got a great running back combination, one of the best in the league. And A.J. Dillon and what's his name? Aaron Jones.
I think Jones is better.
I agree. There's no doubt about it. He's more elusive, but Dillon is a great power back. You know, that guy can, Eddie Jackson will be running the opposite way if he sees Dillon coming straight at him. But nonetheless, you just can't win in this league if you're just a running team. That passing attack, they've got good players. Luke Musgrave is he could be a future Travis Kelce, but there's no fucking way in his first game in the NFL that he's going to play at a high level. I just will not accept that. And there's no way that these backup Malik Heath and some of these other backup wide receivers that will have to see a lot of playing time because Watson is out, who was only a second-year guy. There's just no way that the Bears defense should allow the Jordan Love to exceed 200 yards passing. Over, under, chat room, over, under, Jordan Love, 200 yards passing.
You say that, what if Green Bay comes out and goes play action, goes deep, and he throws a touchdown to start the game? That'd be fucking horrible.
Why do you want to fucking burst my bubble?
I don't want to call people out like this. I'll give you reasons why. Oh, Sterling Sharp, he's out. He's got to retire now. They'll have to play Robert Brooks. He's not any good. And it's like, well, Robert Brooks emerged as a solid receiver. Bill Schroeder, who the fuck's he? Well, he's the white guy scoring for the Packers.
I got 4 unders and 1 over. Michael Henneman is the only one that is a red coat.
I don't care what his stats are. I just want Justin to play better. Like, I don't want to ignore your question, but all jokes aside, if he has a good game, that's fine. You know, I don't think that it's realistic to think that the Bears are going to win and he's going to struggle mightily. Mm-hmm. Maybe he throws a couple of picks. I don't know if the Bears win, but I'm just saying we don't need him to go 3 of 20 or something. Let him have his moment in the sun, just as long as we win because of Justin. Mm-hmm. He outplays him, even if they play similarly, but Justin gets the win and leads a drive or something. That's what I'm looking for. I'll take it however we got to get it, even if it's like the Rex game in Arizona and the offense sucks and special teams and defense gives us the game. So be it.
Absolutely.
Just as long as we get the win. But if we're trying to subscribe to what would be the best, that would be for the national narrative would be to say, hey, Justin is coming along and maybe he's better than the Green Bay quarterback now.
Yeah, I like that. Omar makes a good point that Jordan Love will go over on 200 yards because he'll get a lot of garbage yards, which is pretty much the scenario that I've been calling for, is the Bears to get out to a quick lead and do away with the running game, Packers running game, because they got to catch up and they're going to throw for a lot of yards, but the Bears are going to stop them from scoring points. So
remember the last time we had a big lead, Khalil Mack's first game in 18, what were the Bears up 21-3 at the half?
Yep. And
Matt Nagy found a way to lose.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Don Burr says, the big question is can Fields throw for 200 more yards 3 times this year? Fuck you.
That's a fair question.
No, it's not. Yes, it is a fair question. Given that he has yet to do it in his 3 seasons as a quarterback, yes, it's a fair question.
It is. He's being sarcastic with 200, but I think that if he said 300, the point would be really well made.
Mm-hmm. Bears key film says Trubisky had 7 300-yard games in his time here. It's not a big bar to reach. If Love is NFL caliber quarterback, then 200 isn't unachievable. However, Fields struggles to go over 200 consistently. So that is correct. So, but the question is, let's look at the context of what Fields has had to deal with. He's playing in a very complicated offense. He is playing quarterback for his 3rd or 4th offensive coordinator in 4 or 5 years. So he's had a lot of change. He's never played, at least in the professional level, with a true number 1 wide receiver. He's never played with an offensive line where he felt comfortable. So, I hate to point the finger elsewhere, but there is some legitimacy. Now, I'm always the first one to say that he rushes his throws sometimes, that the 55 sacks he had last year, maybe 20 of them were his fault because he held on to the ball too much, made bad decisions. So, yeah, he's got a lot of things to work on, but these were the same complaints Jalen Hurts was getting after 2 years with the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts was a guy that came out of college, and I was like, I hope the Bears get him. I hope the Bears get him. I think this guy is going to be a pro. And look at what Jalen Hurts did last year, MVP caliber season. So I totally expect this to be the year that Justin Fields does the Jalen Hurts dance number. And if he doesn't, then Ryan Poles has to make a big decision. Do you use one of those 2 number 1 draft picks to find Justin Fields' successor, or do you have him in Tyson Bagent? If Fields plays terribly the first half of the season, do you now promote Tyson Bagent as the number 2 quarterback and give him playing time so that you have a better awareness of what you have at quarterback before you go into the draft?
No, we don't want that. The only way Bagent's playing, in my opinion, my estimation is that Fields is hurt. It's like if he's hurt and the Bears are really struggling like last season when, you've lost 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row or whatever. I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but if you've lost a couple of games in a row and it feels like you're out of it, then maybe you would say, the hell with Nathan Peterman, go ahead and play the kid. Mm-hmm. But I hope it's not that scenario. Mm. If Bagent's, starting games, that's bad for Justin.
All right, so let's just do a hypothetical here. And again, I'm on team Justin Fields, but if he's not playing well, then bye-bye. Let's say you're looking at the schedule here, ending week 6 against the Vikings. Let's say we only have 1 victory.
Oh,
all right. So
who's the win against the
Broncos?
So it's not even a conference win. So that's not helping us for the playoffs at all.
Right. So let's say that's the case. Then let's say week 7 comes along and Justin is a bit banged up. A lot of people are saying, give him a rest. Give him a rest. So who do you play? Nathan Peterman or Tyson Bagent? The correct answer is Tyson Bagent.
Right, but you said Denver's the only win, and which game is it again? The Raiders?
Week 7, the Raiders.
So you're saying that they've lost Green Bay, Tampa, Kansas City, Washington, and Minnesota?
Yeah, if that happens.
Oof, God, if that happens, then yeah, Justin's tenure's not going well for him being re-signed. Mm-hmm. Unless he's hurt, which again, God forbid that happens too. But yeah, if you're that out of it, then perhaps you would go with Bagent there, I would think.
I think that's the overwhelming opinion in the chat room. We know what we have in Nathan Peterman. The question is there going to be a point in the season where perhaps Justin Fields' play is going to be so low that you have to now wonder, can Tyson Bagent maybe do a better job? And I hope we don't ever have to face that question. I hope that Justin Fields comes out tomorrow, throws for 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, rushes for 50, named MVP of the game, named maybe player of the week by the NFL, the FedEx player of the week, or whatever the fuck it is.
That'd be great.
That's what I want. That's truly what I want. But at the same time, being a realist, maybe he's not the chosen one. And maybe the chosen one is some kid that comes out of Shepherd College and his father is an arm wrestling champion. Maybe. I know people are going to say, fuck you, Aldo. Go kill yourself.
Well, again, I just, at this point in my life, if it's Bagent who gets us wins, I need to be accepting of that. Mm-hmm. I said this a few weeks ago. My whole life, I've wanted the Bears to win, but if it wasn't my guy, it felt less than. As when Tom, Zach, or Fuller would win or something, I'd be like, you got to get Jim McMahon in there. Mm-hmm. Steve Walsh is winning, but man, I'd rather it be Eric Kramer, and then it was, God, Cutler's got to be playing. Josh McCown, it doesn't feel as good when Chase Daniels winning a few games for us. I want Mitch in there. It's like I always want the other guy, and now it's Fields. But you know what? I just want to win. So if it's Peterman, if it's that bum that they had in week 18 last year, what was his name again?
Boyd?
Boyle.
Boyle.
Yes. Boyle on his ass.
He was a Boyle.
I don't care if it's that guy. Like, if for some reason the Bears are winning, I need to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do want Fields to be the guy, but I really have to be cognizant of just saying that he's not more important than the team, because I always put my guy over the team in some ways, the one that I like the best. I want him to be the guy so much that it's more paramount than the team.
Yeah.
And I don't want Fields to be like that for me. He probably is, but
yeah, I think he is too.
yeah, I don't want Fields hurt, and I don't want him playing terribly. Like, you know how, like you say on the Open, they won, but I'm going to feel like shit all week. That's the way I'm going to feel if Fields is like, what if the Bears win tomorrow and we're all happy in the sense that, let's say Santos, you make some like 5 of 5 for field goals. Mm-hmm. They have a defensive touchdown, like 5 field goals, and they win. Mm-hmm. No touchdowns on offense, and Jordan Love is head and shoulders better tomorrow. But the Bears win comfortably with field goals and a defensive score, maybe a special team score, whatever.
Right. How
do you feel on Monday? You're happy that they won, right? But if their quarterback looks so much better, doesn't it feel like a loss still?
It will be a kick to the nuts.
Exactly.
Yes. It's like when you have really good sex, but you get venereal disease.
Oh, God. Any women listening, I've not had those, thankfully.
And I kept this comment up from Zach because he's absolutely right. We should not be talking about this, guys. Not now. Listen, this whole backup quarterback Tyson Bagent stuff. We should probably table that until we have evidence that maybe we should talk about it. But there's no evidence right now.
Well, we're just doing an off the cuff thing.
Yeah, this is totally off the cuff. But I just. I do worry. It's weird. I have confidence that this is going to be Justin's year, but I do worry that if it's not, here we go again, fucking another rebuild. But maybe we don't have to invest in first round draft pick and a quarterback, because maybe this Tyson kid can play well in the NFL. I mean, he certainly looks the role. So
but he was playing against the reserves.
Yeah, third stringers in some cases. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. But the one thing that was nice about him is that he, had that base, had that throwing motion, the accuracy on passes. I don't care who's guarding him. There's a guy.
Well, remember Trubisky looked good early on in the preseason too.
Very
he came
true.
out against the Broncos and was slinging that rock.
Very, very true.
And the fans were like, "Wait a minute, this is the guy we booed in Chicago, but let's cheer him now."
Yes,
he was booed at the Bulls game, but yeah, we don't like Mike Glennon. Let's cheer for him.
Very true. I get it.
Yeah, and then before you know it, they're booing Mitch too.
Yeah. So, what's your level of confidence with Matt Eberflus, the head coach of the Bears?
I like him 100% better than Matt Nagy, like 100 out of 100%. Even if like he makes a bad call or doesn't throw the flag when he needs to, or whatever mistake he makes, he's 100% better than Matt Nagy at all times. Mm-hmm. Even on his worst day and Nagy's best day, he's better than Matt Nagy. Mm-hmm. I mean that. I think Nagy's the worst coach we've ever had, and he still somehow won Coach of the Year, which is just confounds the mind. But am I confident that he's going to be, a long-standing coach? Like, I hope so, but no, I'm not. Especially with I don't like our defensive line coach. I don't like Alan Williams either. So they didn't make – to me, the defensive line I kept seeing all last year, and I'm not one of these break-the-tape guys down. I've said it before. All the defensive linemen would get flat-footed pretty quickly, and suddenly would be pushed back off of their heel. It's just like the things that they're saying about the kid from Florida, Dexter, seemed like the whole team last year to me. Mm-hmm. They're suddenly standing up flat-footed and getting pushed back instead of going forward. So I don't know how you don't make a change there when you can't get any sacks. Your safety leads the team in sacks. Mm-hmm. No pressure whatsoever. The defense, you can say, oh, they were keeping them in games, but anytime Justin would lead a drive and the score that, we can win this one, then they would immediately give up a touchdown. and give up the game, or Santos would miss an extra point. So I have no confidence in the defense at all in terms of the coaching and the scheme and stuff. And that's another thing. Is the cover 2 dead? Is the cover 2 2004? Should it be gone? I don't know. Maybe it can still work.
Yeah, the cover 2 that Eberflus runs is totally different than the one Lovie Smith ran. It is it's the base, and he adds a lot of condiments to it. There's and in fact, most of the time, really, it's more of a cover 3, which is why they picked up Tremaine Edmonds, because they're going to have him back down deep into coverage to kind of provide that cover 3 look. So, I know that Danny Shimon is on that kick that this defense is, everyone's figured it out, should not be running it and so forth. And maybe he's answered your question correctly, but I still think that there's a lot more that's going to be uncovered about this defense now that
there's got more talent.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's inarguable. Yeah. There is more talent on the team this year than there was last year.
My issue, and this is, people who love the X's and O's of football are going to say, fuck you, Aldo. That's not important. But to me, it is, because I'm a producer by background. Matt Eberflus is so fucking vanilla. Oh my God. Perhaps it's because I watch all his press conferences and see.
He's better than Matt Nagy.
Absolutely.
He's better than John Fox in a presser.
Absolutely.
I mean, John Fox would be out there with
it was awful.
Yeah. Lying. Kevin White's going to be fine.
Yes.
Mark Trestman saying things like quoting Star Trek or whatever.
Yes.
I would rather listen to Eberflus. He's better than those last 3 after Lovie.
Yes. John Fox, when he would have come in for the interview and I would have heard him with that gravelly voice, I would say, hey, here, take this box of cigars and get the fuck out of here. Because I don't want my head coach talking like that. Like Bill Cartwright, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, at least he told us about the parakeet that he killed or whatever.
Yeah, he did offer a couple of good stories before he left.
And his feet were
the monkey. The monkey,
yeah, and his feet were ticklish.
Yes. But I just feel like the head coach is, in many respects, a figurehead, and I guess I'm spoiled by the Mike Ditka years.
He does seem boring, and if you compare him to even Dan Campbell.
Yes,
Campbell's, like I said, they're Mike Ditka now.
Absolutely, and Campbell rubs me wrong, because he has to do the push-ups with the players, and it's sometimes more about him than anybody else. But I got to admit it, that the guy is likable. And would you want Dan Campbell over Matt Eberflus as the head coach of the Bears?
I don't know yet. I don't know what Eberflus is going to show us. Last year, we said this on the air, and you agreed with me at the time, that how do you look your guys in the eye when you have that system that's like, the hits principle, we're going to do this and do that, when they're clearly trying to lose. So it's like you look at the same team, albeit with a lot of different players now. But how do you look at that same team in the eye and say, now it's time to try to win? We weren't really trying before, so none of that shit mattered. It just seems like that kind of stuff does matter. When you lose control of the team and you can't win, I mean, it just is that becomes the norm, that you're a losing coach. How do you turn it on when you've never had it to turn off?
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're Kansas City and you're like, we lost at home. We're 0-1. We should have won. But you know what? We've won 2 Super Bowls. We know what we're doing here. So even if Nagy doesn't, Andy Reid does. So they can turn it. They can probably go 0-3 and still make the playoffs. They'll be okay. We won't be okay. The Bears, haven't had back-to-back playoff appearances since 05 and 06.
Yeah, jeez.
Like they're 1 year, 2010, 2018, 2020, but. You can't put anything together. So you can't sit here and tell me you can just turn it on now because you've never had it to turn on or off.
Yeah.
They got to come out fast. I mean, for real, even if it's, they can't get behind is what I'm trying to say. They can't let Green Bay be up 14 or something early. And then it's just like, they can't come out flat.
They cannot. And that's what worries me is, this week in this press conference, I forgot exactly what he was talking about, but it should have come out a little bit more motivational. And I'm just afraid that the Bears are going to come out of that tunnel in Soldier Field and not be ready in that first quarter because they're not fired up. So we'll see. By the way, I got to share this with you because I don't think you saw it. Robert says, "Make no mistake, Don Fox murdered that monkey."
What was that monkey's name again? He had a name.
Yeah, it was some kind of. Let's see if I can Google it right now because it was a funny name.
John Fox called Pete on that motherfucker.
He murdered this monkey. Gidget.
Was it really Gidget?
Got a pet monkey named Gidget.
I guess he's so old that Gidget would have been pop culture then too.
Yeah, very true. Sally Field played Gidget, right?
Yeah, she was also in Winning Time, if you remember, in season 1.
That's right. She played the mom.
Exactly.
Jeff Perlman ran into her recently, and like a fanboy went up to her and said, "Hey, I wrote the book," and she was so complimentary about the book and the series and stuff, and she really loves the series. So pretty cool.
I'm trying to think what I saw something. I know I'm sidetracking, but I watched a movie with her recently, and it wasn't Smokey and the Bandit, which I hated. It was something really old though, from like 75-ish, where she was still really, really attractive. Mm-hmm. I think of her as like Forrest Gump's mother, and I don't connect that she actually was really pretty. God, who was in it? It was a guy that I liked that has a lot of charisma. Ah, shit, I got to think this.
While you're thinking that through, I will tell you that as a kid, I first became aware of Sally Field in the show called The Flying Nun. She was a nun who had this big habit that I guess it's called a habit, the headgear, and she was worked at a convent in Puerto Rico. This was a 1967 through 1970 series, and it was very windy in Puerto Rico, and so she could fly. And so me and my family, being Puerto Ricans, we were so fucking excited. Oh wow, we got a flying nun in Puerto Rico, and they made a TV show out of it. All right, so I'm looking through her filmography, and it's definitely not.
That's what I'm looking for too. Is her filmography?
Filmography. Jesus Christ.
No, I will never watch 80 for Brady. Let me just be quoted as saying that.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you want to watch that tonight.
Please don't make me watch that. I already had to watch that terrible movie about the draft.
Oh my gosh.
God.
There's something about that fucking movie. It's been on twice this week, and twice it's not Punchlines, as Zach Sullivan, right? With Tom Hanks.
No, it's old. I'm looking. Oh, it's Stay Hungry with Schwarzenegger and Jeff Bridges.
Oh my God.
Jeff Bridges is the one I was thinking of. It's a guy that's got charisma. Although I really hate that movie that everybody else loves, where that dude or the dude.
Big Lebowski.
I hate it. I thought it was a terrible movie.
I saw it once. I didn't like it, but everyone loves it so much. I want to give it another chance.
Don't like it. I never want to see it again. But yeah, I like that. Schwarzenegger is good in that too. Arnold's very underrated in some aspects, I think, as an actor.
I totally agree. He's top 5 action movie stars, no doubt about it.
But can still give you Kindergarten Cop.
Exactly.
And Jingle All the Way. I'm not saying that those are my favorite movies by any stretch, but he can give you different demographics.
Yes. I'm sorry. Swifty is saying that Draft Day is an awesome movie.
I hated it.
Ravi says, I like Draft Day. It is, from a realism standpoint, it is fucking... I think that movies from the 1930s and 40s are more realistic about football than that movie.
Yeah, you're going to trade us back all the picks we gave you and give us a punt returner just because I said so.
That's right.
What the fuck?
Did Ryan Pace write that script? He doesn't tell his head coach he's trading for his number 1 pick. It was just...
It's terrible.
It was
And I like the cast. I like Kevin Costner. I like Dennis Leary. Yes. I don't like that movie. I thought it was dreadful.
And maybe Cliff is right, because I keep watching the movie. Anytime it's fucking on, I stop and watch it. Maybe the movie really is fun, but
no.
To me, I think it's fun because I love picking on it. Well, there's another fucking unrealistic thing. There's another fucking terrible movie making thing. Like the chemistry between that very hot actress that played the team accountant. What's her name? She was married to Ben Affleck.
Yeah, she's from West Virginia, actually.
Oh, really? She's gorgeous.
Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner. She's gorgeous. The chemistry between her and Kevin Costner. I see more chemistry between. I was going to say something really bad in bad taste, but I won't go there. But there was no fucking chemistry whatsoever. So from a movie making standpoint, and then the mother. They throw her in. Really, is it necessary to have Ellen Bernstein show up on the day of the draft wanting to bury her husband's ashes on the field while her son is trying to conduct an NFL draft? Really? That's not fun. That's not entertaining.
It's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
Either. It's just nothing about that movie was good. I just don't like it, but a lot of people like that Western show that he's on that I don't like it either.
What's that called?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Ah, God damn it. I don't like Yellowstone.
I bet you Cliff likes that. I find that a lot of conservatives like Yellowstone. Greg Gabriel's a huge fan.
Yellowstone is Days of Our Lives. It's like, who's fucking who, and is Jamie turning on the family? I mean, it's like every bad stereotypical thing I've ever saw, like with women watching soap operas, except he's got that big hat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. It's like they're in Montana and he's got a real deep voice now and he's got a big hat.
I'll tell you this. I did see episode 1 of Yellowstone and I thought, wow, this is really well shot. Very cinematic, that there's an accident with horses happening. I don't remember it exactly, but it was really well done. Robert is at, Swift says that's some stuff the McCaskies would do. Very true, Swift. Very, very true.
At least they want to win tomorrow.
Yes, that is true.
Especially like the mom. I mean, come on, Virginia's like, do this before I die.
Jeez, I got some really bad jokes about that too, but I better not go there.
I mean, she's going to be 101, right?
101, right?
I mean, how much more time does she have? How much do any of us have? But I'm just saying, if you're lucky enough to make it to 100,
yeah.
I mean, how many more Bears-Packers games does she have?
This could be it.
Can we please get one for the old lady then?
Yes. Hold her eyes open, her eyelids open. Aldo, you start reading Ear in Peace. If you didn't recover, I would feel bad about my joke. Oh, I get it.
I don't get it.
I get it that I don't get the joke because I never read Ear in Peace or War and Peace, I think is what he was referring to.
Oh, I thought there was a joke because of your ear. I was like, I don't get it. What's something wrong with your ear?
By the way, Cliff saw Wild Wild West. Not a great movie. That's the Will Smith
movie. Will Smith? No,
yeah.
I'd never watched
that.
But
he's right about Selma Hayek. That's one reason to stop and watch.
If you're going to watch Selma Hayek, watch her in the movie with Tarantino. With Cheech and George Clooney.
Yes. And Tarantino sucking her toes.
He asked Juliette Lewis, he's like, she looks at him and says, Richie, would you eat my pussy? And he's like, yeah, sure, I could do that. And of course, the whole thing's in a vision. Yes. What's that called again? From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn. Yes.
Yeah, that's fun, man.
I remember seeing that in the movie theater and thinking, wow, this is a fucking great movie. And then all of a sudden the fucking vampires come on. I go,
yeah, it was better. It was better.
Change the reels of the movie. They're showing another movie now.
It was better before the vampires.
Yes, I totally agree. I was, the vampire stuff wasn't bad. It was fun, but it didn't belong with that first half of the movie where you're setting up this great crime drama.
And Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel and his family are abducted by George Clooney playing a great villain and Quentin Tarantino playing a really freaky villain. I thought this is going to be good, man. And all of a sudden, fucking vampires are flying. The one saving grace is, of course, Selma Hayek. She comes on and does a fucking dance on the stage, and everybody's glued to her. I was glued to her. I think I actually levitated out of my seat and was gravitating towards the screen towards her because she really is one of the most beautiful women in the world. I don't know what's holding her up now, if that's all plastic surgery or whatever, but when I see her now, she's got to be in her late 50s at least.
I remember she sued David Letterman once.
Really?
Back in the 90s. I forget what it was, but
gotta see this.
And that I thought about that because there's this story going around where Jimmy Fallon is allegedly a huge dick.
All right. That's happening now.
Yeah, he apologized. Made me think of that because of the Letterman connection, but he apologized for it because, see, I've never liked Fallon. Like on SNL, I thought he laughed at his own jokes too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd rather have Conan there too. So it's just like there's all these things. But I always thought he seemed like a nice guy, though. So I'm shocked that he would be a dick and be drunk, but he apologized and seemed to acknowledge that there was truth to it. So I give him props for that, man.
I've heard stories years ago that he drank a lot, and you remember he had a really bad finger injury where he had like a finger cast on for like almost a year.
I don't know.
And it was a result of him being drunk and falling down and really, almost losing his finger as a result of it. So there was been stories that he likes to knock him back. The story that broke this week about him and some of the producers on the set running a really rough environment, and employees were afraid and so forth.
Steve Harvey did that too.
Yeah, Steve Harvey's another one.
Ellen DeGeneres. See, I can believe Ellen and Steve being assholes like that, but Jimmy does come across as a nicer guy.
Yes, very much.
So I'm not a fan of him per se, but he's at the very least he didn't seem like an asshole. But yeah, did you find Selma Hayek and David Lemon?
There's nothing. I put in Google Selma Hayek sues David Lemon.
Yeah, it was in like 98 or something. Something happened on the show, and I thought she sued. Maybe they settled. Maybe it's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah, I guess not. Wow, look at this. Selma Hayek proves age is nothing but a number in a bikini. Jeez, I'm looking for this picture. It's his picture. Oh, hold on a second. Jesus.
This sounds good.
She's so beautiful. I'm gonna copy and paste this and put it up. How long ago was this? This is 2019, so it's 4 years old. So
pre-COVID.
But yeah, she is a quick story. I was doing a job somewhere. I forgot what town I was. And I check into my room, and the cleaning lady is still there. And so I'm so sorry. And so we get into a conversation. She's Hispanic, and she goes, "You should meet my daughter. She works downstairs in the front office. She looks just like Salma Hayek. She would love to meet a boy like you." So
you're like, wow.
I say, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." I went downstairs to look at it, and nobody looked like Salma Hayek. And then when I went back up to the room, the lady wasn't there. And so I'm like, fuck, man, I had a chance to deal with a woman like this.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at that.
I'm telling you, I said this to you earlier in text. I saw like on my flight, probably 5 or 6 women with hijabs on. Clearly Arabic.
Uh-huh.
And every one of them, I'm not going to say they look like that if they didn't have their religious gear on, so to speak.
Right.
But goddamn, they were all incredible. I'm like, okay, who do I have to worship again to be with you? Just tell me. Allah, is that his name? Okay, I'll join the team. Jesus Christ. They looked incredible.
You ever gone to a porn website and it seems like it's like a fetish now to have sex with a woman wearing her
I feel so weird about it. I feel like somehow they're gonna know I was one of the guys and be pissed at me, I shouldn't say bomb my house because that's such a stereotype and it's a dick thing to say.
Yeah.
But that's what my joke was gonna be. Like somehow they're gonna find out if they're pissed about cartoons. Yes. I say they being the extreme version of their religion, not everybody, but if they could be pissed about a cartoon and kill somebody, then I don't think they want their ladies sucking off white guys with their hijabs on. Or even more, have you seen the fetish porn? God, where they'll purposely make it. I don't know if they probably really are, but in the porn, the context, they'll have Palestinians and Jewish people fucking.
No.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah, where they'll be like, "Oh, I've never had sex with, never sucked a Jew's dick," or vice versa.
Would you call that revenge porn?
I like it. I can say that. I'm not Jewish or Palestinian, but I really, really like Palestinian women. I think they look amazing.
I don't think. This image here on the screen. By the way, we could keep this image up the entire show, and no one would complain.
Do you think it looks like she's breaking wind there? She's like, "This one's gonna burn."
If she's
too much protein shake today.
If she said, "Dan, put your nose in my butthole, I'm gonna blow one," would you do it?
Probably.
Yeah, me too. I would be. Can I go next? Please let me go next.
I would say those are breast implants, don't you think?
See, I don't know.
They're up really high.
Yeah, they are.
They're up really high, and there's You know,
I don't care.
no, I'm not complaining,
No, I
but
know
I
you're not.
think that the fact that gravity didn't bring them down kind of
Mhm.
makes me think that those aren't real.
Yeah, I would agree. Cliff wants to see Mia Sarah. Do you know who she is?
She was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off,
That
right?
is correct. I actually got to interview her. I was on the set doing a half-hour special on John Hughes, and oh wow, this is a more recent picture of her. I'm going to show her now and see, and you guys can tell me if you like or not like. So I got a chance to. I think I've shared this story before on the show. That we were told by the publicist, you cannot talk to Matthew Broderick or any one of the other stars. Your interviews only with John Hughes. And so we're watching John Hughes direct a scene, and there's Matthew Broderick and Mia Sarah and Alan Ruck.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wasn't he on that show you liked at HBO?
Succession.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're like staring at me and the crew. It's like basically they were saying, come and interview us. You know, you're doing something on John. We want to talk. So I did. And I interviewed Mia, and I recall how beautiful she is. And this is
during the filming, obviously.
This is during the filming. It was the scene where they're in the cab and Ferris Bueller looks over and sees his principal in another cab.
Who ended up being a pedophile, by the way.
Who ended up being a pedophile. Yes.
Jeffrey Jones, or some kind of, if he wasn't a pedophile, it was child porn.
Child porn, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Not
good.
This is Mia Sarah today.
Oh, still
Very
a beautiful
attractive.
lady.
Very, very attractive. Let me find a more a picture from that era. Yeah, she's a gorgeous woman. Whatever happened to her career?
I don't know. The woman that I bet still looks great, and I haven't seen her in 30 years. When you say what happened to her career, is the one that was coming out of the pool in Fast Times.
Yeah, Phoebe Cates.
Yeah, and she married Kevin Kline and just become a mom, and that just stayed at the house.
Yes,
she was great. I mean, so hot on that. And she was in Gremlins. Remember? She was the great. Not that she was hot on Gremlins, but she was the lead in it.
Yes, I remember that. Sure.
And yeah, then suddenly she got married and she just retired.
Who was in Time Cop? Mia Sarah?
I didn't know. I know that's a Van Damme movie, right?
Yeah, it is a Van Damme movie.
I kind of don't watch Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I've never seen. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
I did see Universal Soldier with Dolph Lundgren and Kickboxer. I remember watching those as a kid.
Oh, look at this. Larry wants to know, is it time for the weather report? Yeah, why not? The weather hasn't changed. Tomorrow it is expected to be 77 degrees at Soldier Field, and probably around low 70s when it comes to kickoff. Dan is staring at the screen, but I got a feeling he's not staring at all at the weather forecast. There, now focus, weather forecast. Get back to
God, her pants are so tight. How is she breathing those?
I don't know.
I bet there's a camel toe in there somewhere.
Camel toe alert. Yeah, that's funny. My wife just texted me and says, let me read her text here. Home and ready for bed. See you in the morning. So she's in the house.
So keep it down.
No, she didn't say that. So anyway, weather report there. It's going to be in the 70s. You are wearing what tomorrow? Oh, you should have brought it down.
Say that again. Oh, the shirt?
The shirt.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing that. Again, they're 1 in 7 when I've attended the games, and they won when I wore a T-shirt. So I'm wearing a T-shirt to one of those. The guy that's a country singer now. I used to be in Hootie and the Blowfish.
Mm-hmm.
The Darius Rucker. He actually sang the national anthem at a Bears-Panthers game I was at in 2008. But yeah, he's got clothes now. So it's part of the Darius Rucker collection, the shirt that I have.
Right.
It's probably on Fanatics or something now. I just bought it. I've only worn it like twice.
I'm putting it up on the screen in 5,
Oh, you found it?
4. Yes, I did. Oh,
Yeah.
No. Wrong one.
That's it. The first one.
Yeah, but I got a better picture of it.
Oh.
Let me get rid of this one.
So I'm hoping a T-shirt will help us prevail.
Indeedy. There it is. That's your shirt right there.
Yes.
I like that.
I do too. I was skeptical. I was like, Darius Rucker,
Mm-hmm.
what's he doing making Bear shirts? But I have another one too that I like a lot, but it does say Dub Airs on it, and that always makes me like, there'll always be somebody that like knows nothing about football and like just thinks it's so funny to be like the Bears because of the sketch from 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
I don't know why that makes me mad when it's somebody says the Bears. It's like if they're really a fan, then I can laugh. Oh yeah, I love that sketch. But if it's somebody that doesn't know anything about football and they say it, like they would have no idea who Justin Fields is, and they say the Bears, it makes me so mad for some reason.
Yeah.
But I really like the shirt, though.
I remember Shane Marsaw was almost like offended. The Bears. That's so stupid. But the Chicago Bears have that trademark. They're making money off of the Bears.
Well, see if you can find the one that says the Bears. It's a nice design. It kind of looks like it would be a lady's shirt. Kind of looks like the one I bought for Mrs. Gandia last year. But
oh yeah, that's right.
But it's not. It's a guy's shirt. But it says the Bears on it, small. But most of it is the Bear logo, and it says Bears. It's a nice design.
And it's part of the Darius collection.
It is.
Not seeing it immediately.
Oh well. But, it's got blue shoulders, I remember, and the Bears in orange, and the rest of the shirt's white or something.
Well, this is pretty cool, but it doesn't say the Bears. Let me show you. Let's see. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, but that's not it. The one I was talking about is another T-shirt.
Yeah, it's a women's actually. You ever wear women's clothing?
I have hard enough time being a good-looking guy, let alone trying to do some cross-dressing.
Okay, enough.
Johnny Depp could pull that off, and Ed Wood, but Marilyn Manson could pull that off in 1998. I can't.
And for those of you who don't know the Marilyn Manson story behind this photograph, why don't you share it again? What happened here?
Again, his dad's in the room with us too. And that's Twiggy Ramirez, aka Jordy White, behind me, making a funny face as well.
Was he grabbing your ass?
No, but it would be funny if he did. Again, I don't want to be homophobic, but I'd never had a man grab my shit before. So
that's not
that was the look on my face. It was just like, how do I react to this? And he was very gracious because like the next picture was of my ex-wife. And she was coming in there to take a picture. And I was like, well, fuck it, man. I was like, I know I made a stupid face. And I was like, she's my wife. And you grabbed me. So, and I put my arm around him and held him, and he had no objections at all.
Oh, cool. I thought you were going to say he grabbed her by the vagina.
No. He made it really because it was you had to pay, it was like $300 for us, and he gave everybody 4 or 5 minutes of time, and you got to take the picture. It's like he really tried to make it feel like you were important while you were there.
Yeah. Swifty says it looks like you're enjoying it. It does look like you're enjoying it.
I thought it looked like I'm just like
Did he have a good firm grasp of the whole thing there?
He had my balls for the most part, but it was also touching a little bit of the dick. But I remember it was like my fucking balls, because that's what he said. Like, I wish if I could lie, I'd be like, man, Aldo, after he got loose of my shit, he looked back at Twig and he said, what a cock on that guy. But in reality, what he said, and you want to talk about a backhanded compliment? He said, what a set of balls on that guy. Like, no one wants to hear they've got big balls.
Well, but it sounds like a double entendre. Like it means like you allowed him to do that, and so it takes a guy with big balls to
He's just saying my scrotum is. It's just bad. My poor cat Aztec, before he ever got neutered, and he walked around, he was a kid, and I got neutered at like 4 months or something. He had a fucking bag though, man. Like, if he was walking by, all you saw was balls.
Wow.
He had a bad fucking scrotum bigger than him.
Jeez. Did you keep it after it was neutered?
No,
that would have been cool.
No.
Mr. Mayhem says that Manson was disgusting in Sons of Anarchy. I didn't know he was in Sons.
I think he played a racist in jail.
Oh, really?
He played like a white power guy or something.
I see. I've got a couple of seasons of the DVD that I've never watched. So I need to get on that show because everybody loves it. It's one of the stars of that show, Sons of Anarchy, left the show after a couple of seasons and then went on to become a serial killer or something like that. Did you hear about that?
No, I've never even watched that show, by the way.
Yeah, let me see. my wife likes to watch these fucking crime shows. Sons of Anarchy. Can't spell fucking anarchy. Murder.
I didn't know that the guy that got convicted while you're looking at that from that 70s show was one of the Scientologists.
Oh, really?
Did you know that?
No.
He's a Scientologist guy.
Wow. All right. So the guy's name is Johnny Lewis. And apparently, if I remember the story correctly, he was on his way to being a big star. He was a little bit difficult to work with on the set because he wasn't a violent person. At least that's how he portrayed himself. This is Johnny Lewis, Sons of Anarchy. And so he quit after the first couple of years because he said, this isn't really the type of role that I want. But then he goes on to, let me just pull up a,
Violently sodomized a woman.
February 10th, arrested for battery, allegedly involving a woman. He was held in custody, but bail, blah, blah. 2 days later, officially charged with 2 misdemeanors stemming from that arrest: assault and battery and resisting arrest. February 24th, he is charged with 2 counts of felony assault. March 19th, Lewis faces a new round of charges, this time from a February 18th bust for entering an LA structure. He is slapped with charges of felony burglary and loitering. March 27th, Lewis is taken into custody over that January 3rd incident. May 18th, following court order, he is conditionally released. August 8th, the actor appears in court representing himself, no lawyer, where he withdraws his plea of not guilty and pleads no contest. On and on and on until finally he commits murder of a woman.
Damn.
Who, this was an elderly woman. She was 81 years old, and she ran what was called the writer's house. She owned this big mansion. She came from money, and she loved the arts and Hollywood writers and so forth. And she would provide a place for them to stay while they were trying to land work and stuff. And so somehow he ended up getting a room there. He double talked his way in. And one day, just out of the blue, with no forewarning whatsoever, he murders her. He throws her off of the balcony.
Was he on drugs?
He had some kind of mental issue. In this documentary, they interviewed a lot of the makeup people, hairdressers, costume designers from Sons of Anarchy, and they all said he was just such a nice guy, but clearly he had some demons in him, and so. That's really another reason why I want to watch this Sons of Anarchy show, to take a look at this Johnny Lewis guy to see what kind of a person, actor he was.
Whatever happened to that Smollett guy, the fake attack here in Chicago? Remember, he was trying to say that he's got that really hot sister.
Jussie Smollett?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, remember he was like arrested and put in jail, and then they're like, oh, he's too sensitive to be in jail, and they let him loose, and it's just like, well, what happened to his conviction?
Yeah, I think he's in jail now.
Is he really?
I think he's serving time.
I know they let him out for a while, and I was like, well, I thought he was convicted.
Mm-hmm. Danny Masterson got screwed because the trial was about Scientology. Women he raped were Scientologists if he raped them.
I don't know anything about it, so I didn't know he was a Scientologist until yesterday. That show was fine, whatever, but I just, like I said, I just saw that yesterday. I thought, well, that's interesting.
You didn't know that. J2K asked, remember Kellen Winslow Jr.?
Yes.
14 years for multiple rapes. There was something about that kid. Every time I saw him interviewed, always football related, but the way he spoke, it almost told me that he was high on something like cocaine or meth. I don't know what the fuck, but he just seems so fucking wired. It can kind of dangerously. So he would get into fights in his early pro football career, and in college he got into fights and stuff. And so I wasn't at all surprised.
He was at the U, right?
Yeah,
I thought so.
Yeah. Michael says Jesse was going to sue them, so they let him go. No, but then they reopened the trial because the prosecutor in Chicago was under so much pressure, and he ended up, Jussie Smollett, I'm pretty sure, ended up going to jail. I'll do a quick Google search.
Yeah, I don't think they put him back in, is the way I remember it, because I was like, oh, that's some white privilege, even though he's not white. I'm sarcastic. Some celebrity privilege.
See, Jesse Smollett had a courtroom outburst after after the judge sentenced to 150 days in jail for lying about the attack.
Yeah, he's kind of like somebody that we know that runs office that won't admit anything. He's just like, he will lie and lie and lie, but we don't want to talk about that.
According to Variety, Smollett was released a year ago pending his appeal after serving 6 days of his 150-day sentence.
How long does it take for his court to come back around?
Yeah, wheels of justice are fucking fucked up. But yeah, apparently this guy was a good actor. I never saw any of the shows he was in, but he's definitely ruined his career and betrayed a lot of people because people in his inner circle who spoke up for him.
He still says it happened.
Didn't fucking happen.
Even though he hired the other guys allegedly to beat him up.
Listen, man, the idea of somebody wearing a MAGA hat in downtown Chicago, I just don't see that happening. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
That one guy that, God, what's his name? I shouldn't say this because I don't know him, but he did a podcast. A couple of guys that used to work here really, really hated him. They said he was one of those really, really far right MAGA guys. He did a video once and called somebody a hoe. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
He's like, "This is my 11-3 jacket, hoe." God, I'll just say Phil and Shane hated him.
And so he did a Bears podcast?
Yeah. He was supposed to be like opposite Bears Bar.
Oh, I remember who you're talking about. Mike Brez.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
They said he was really far right like that.
Oh my gosh. He is been ostracized. Did you hear what happened with him?
No, after he said, "This is my 11-3 jacket, ho," I was like, okay, I'm never watching his videos again. I was like, why did they make me watch this?
Well, apparently Mike Perez was running a fairly successful podcast thing where I forgot what the name of it was, but they covered all 32 teams. It was a network, a real fucking network. He and some other guys worked really hard to establish this network. Well, one of the guys that he was dealing with, they had this text exchange. They had an argument, and Mike Brez used racially insensitive or racist language, calling him you're fucking Mexican kind of shit. I'm paraphrasing. Ooh. And so the guy released those texts, and over the next few days, that network started to evaporate. People who ran the Dallas Cowboys podcast said, "Hey, thanks for the opportunity. We're moving on." People who ran the Tampa Bay Bucks podcast said, "Hey, fuck this. I ain't working for a guy who's a racist." And I'm just drawing up these examples that those may not be the specifics on those podcasts, but the whole fucking network just fell apart like within a week or two.
Wow.
And Mike Brez is no longer, I think his real name is Mike Breslin or something like that. And he's no longer on social media. His account has been dead since that happened.
Well, hopefully he's not at the game tomorrow.
I'll never forget. He and I used to have political arguments all the time on Twitter, but I'll never forget the video he posted after the Cody Parkey miss. You're talking about a guy who was fucking brewing inside, and he looked like he was about to commit murder. You know, he's walking and talking with his phone, and he's like, "We're paying this motherfucker $50 million a year," whatever the fuck. And he's just getting angrier and angrier and angrier. It was actually a very fucking scary video. This is a guy that you don't want. And apparently the story is that he drank a lot. And when you would drink a lot, he got fucking violent. And so, and apparently racist too. So
he's
good
like
luck to you,
everyone's
Mike,
grandfather.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving or something.
That's right. I'll never forget when my late great father-in-law used the N-word at Thanksgiving dinner one night. And we all look at him, what the fuck did you just say?
My ex-wife's grandmother, she passed away. You know, she was nice to me, and I won't say that she was drunk. I mean, I don't know. She just was elderly. But she said something while I was there. I wasn't supposed to hear. She was like, "You're not supposed to marry anybody with fucking blue eyes. Those blue-eyed devils." I was like, oh, well,
The Brawl Network. That's what it was, Hair Bear. Thank you. Yeah, Mike Brez ran the Brawl Network, and so they would have podcasts in every city, and it was on its way to be successful. They would get great guests on and stuff. But
maybe everyone heard this is my 11-3 jacket, ho, or 8-3 jacket. He said ho.
Well, anyone that would have followed him on Twitter would have dug up all sorts of incredibly racially insensitive stuff. And I remember a woman posting a video of her singing, and Mike Brez posted something like, "Why are you always fucking seeking attention on this app?"
I think I remember that.
Yeah,
actually.
I was like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Woman posts a video and you're accusing her of. Anyways, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Anything else about the game you want to talk about before you go to sleep and get some much needed shut eye?
Just worried, man. It's like I'm excited about the opportunity, obviously, to be there, but it matters so much, just you don't want to lose another whole season. And it feels like this could be the catalyst of something important happening this year, instead of saying, oh, the rebuild's going to be next year or the year after. Like you can't be certain about those things. There are only 17 of these games, that are promised. And if you want to get to the postseason, like it or not, you're going to have to win your division more than likely. And that starts with beating Green Bay. You got Detroit ascending, clearly. Minnesota is probably going to be a little bit more back to the middle versus like winning 13 games by like 3 points. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what Green Bay is now, without Rodgers. So you should start it off with a conference win, a division win, take care of business. It's out in front of you, like seize the opportunity. And as a fan, which is short for fanatic, as you know, I'm going to be down if they lose, man. It's just like, I'm so used to them losing. It's almost like you just accept them losing. Like you expect them to lose. And I don't want to do that anymore. Just give us one, man. Come on. Like
one big one satisfying,
like that 61-7 one in 1980, something like that.
Like when you go to a restaurant and you have such a fucking satisfying meal, and it's like, man, that was so fucking good. I don't care how much it cost. I'm full. It was delicious. Every bite, every morsel. The drink was great. Oh man, that's what I want tomorrow. Something so fucking satisfying. Hey, let's get to some questions before we get out of here. Cliff Victoria wants to know, do you ever consider wearing contacts and growing a beard?
Never growing a beard, and I don't like contacts. I can't stand like digging in my eyes and shit to try to take them out. I can't do it. So can't wear contacts. I don't want to grow a beard.
Stu told, hey, Don Burr, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
Was that from Back to the Future?
I think so.
Biff was based off Donald Trump. Have you heard that?
No, get the fuck out of here.
I swear on my mom's grave. That's what Biff was supposed to be. Remember, he becomes a casino owner?
Yeah.
Yeah, they say it was all based upon Trump. He's supposed to be some bully who said stupid shit like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Bears Country Podcast is really, really encouraging for you to give high fives at the game tomorrow. And then he added, Dan, give some hugs too, and maybe some cheek kisses with a win.
With a win. I even let a bearded fuck like the other Dan kiss me.
Leo wants to know, if the Bears win the coin toss, would you rather they kick or defer the ball?
God. Usually when they defer, or whenever they have to play on defense first, is what I'm saying. They give up 7. So I don't know though tomorrow, because the offense isn't exactly in rhythm. I don't know. What will you answer that one?
I think that you want the defense out there first.
Oof. But what if you let them score?
Yeah, well, that's how I feel. That there's no way that's going to happen. I want to send a statement. I want them to get 3 and out. I don't want us to get good field position around the 50-yard line, our own 40-yard line, and then half the field, score a touchdown, and we're off to a quick 7-0 lead with 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. It's a very, very aggressive coaching style that I hope Eberflus employs tomorrow.
He's the opposite of Campbell. You could say that Dan Campbell might make stupid fourth down choices.
Very stupid.
Yeah, but you'd like to have some of that aggressiveness. Eberflus seems to go the other way. He's like overly conservative on play calling at times, where you're like, oh, is this going to be a 44-yard field goal for Santos?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what? He probably can't make it.
Yeah.
Shit like that. And then when you punt from there, what are you going to do? You're going to have like 7 yards net when it goes in the end zone.
Right, exactly. Cliff pointed out that kicking and deferring are the same thing. Yes, Cliff, but I think we got the gist of it. Defer says Bears. I'm trying to pronounce that. How would you pronounce that? Bears Key Film.
Bears Key Film wants to meet at the stadium tomorrow.
Is that the same person?
That's him.
Okay.
He's appeared on Bears Country podcast while I've been on.
Oh,
there.
Awesome. I've missed you, Bears Key Film. Jeez, I don't know why I have problems with that. I had a mini stroke recently. That would be why. Get the ball out quickly. All right, more questions. Aldo, what concerns you the most? D-line, O-line, or Justin? I would say that can I say all of the above? Oh, the most. There has to be a most. You know, what concerns me most is just the rustiness of this team, because, you know, there's been so many injuries, and thank God that it appears like everybody except potentially Robert Tonyan will play tomorrow. So that's a good thing. So I'm just a little concerned about that. But if I have to pick between those three, I would say the O-line right now. I really have respect for what the Packers defense, the interior of the defensive line, and that 3-4 defense is strong. The outside pass rushers, Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, those guys can get sacks. And so hopefully our guys on the offensive line are well prepared for what they're going to run at them, and they're going to keep Justin safe and in the pocket. He's comfortable in the pocket, but I do have concerns about the O-line, you know, and Lucas Patrick at center. That's really fucking worrisome to me.
Did you see what Wright said?
No.
It was a pretty good quote. He goes, I didn't watch a lot of football growing up, so I don't really know the history of this rivalry, but man, I've talked to a lot of people in the building, and there are a lot of them that hate the Green Bay Packers. So he's like, I guess I hate them too then.
That's a great quote.
Yeah, it was just like, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't watch enough football, but there's a lot of hate in that building. So
yeah,
it's rubbing off. You know?
See that? And I posed that question to Greg Gabriel. We were on Wednesday. I said, do you think that the Bears are doing a good job with all of these new faces, the young talent, that they're doing a good job of explaining the importance of this rivalry, not only for the two organizations, but because of the fan base, because that's a big part of it. It's the fans that really help throw fuel on the fire, so to speak. And he said, yeah, I think so, because McCaskey really wants to win this. But based on what you just said about the rookie offensive tackle saying that, no, he kind of, you know, to me, I think Eberflus should just show film clips of fucking Matsui being pushed into the bench, of Jim McMahon being slammed down, of some of the sound bites from Forrest Gregg. Aaron Rodgers, I own you, you know, and just hire somebody like me, pay me a couple of $1,000 and I'll put together a fucking reel of Bears Packers stuff that will fire up any young Chicago Bears player who's not aware of this fucking rivalry.
Not to change the subject, it popped in my head though. How is the Mike North film thing going?
The film thing is
based on maybe you could get it out of turnaround with the podcast is.
Yeah, I got to get to work on that, because now that I'm feeling better. So we are on chapter 3, which is he's going over his time at the Score Sports Radio. And this is going to be probably the best episode of the 5-part series, because he's got all these great stories about him working with Dan Jiggets, of some of the rivalries at the radio station, some of the celebrities he met, great stories with Michael Jordan and so forth. The episode 3 of that series should come out probably in a week to 10 days, and it's going to be probably the pinnacle episode of the entire series.
So it's going to be like last week's Winning Time.
Yeah. Man, Winning Time's so good. You and I get to watch Winning Time tomorrow.
Yeah, we need Jeff Pearlman to narrate an episode of Mike North.
That would be cool.
Ask Mike a question or something. As Jeff the reporter.
What's this? Is the Ditka's supposed to be on the field tomorrow?
It's Alumni Week.
Oh,
I didn't know Mike was going to be there. That's great, but I knew it's the Alumnus Week, so there should be a lot of older players there.
Wow, I'll make sure to get you a different chair for the next time we do this.
That's okay. I just it's not like it's a bad chair. It's just I'm used to sitting lower to the ground for some reason.
You can adjust the height.
Oh, that's a lot better. And maybe McMahon will be there. Maybe Eric Kramer will be there.
Wow. You
Eric,
got to get there early.
Maybe even Cutler will be there. He was at the last Bears Packers game.
Was he really?
Yeah, he came to the last Bears Packer game. He didn't come to the alumni game though. I don't think that last year it was. God, no, the year before it was San Francisco. Last year they started with San Francisco. I don't remember which game it was last year. Their alumnus.
I don't remember either. But I just saw the Hair Bear says Butkus is probably going to be there. So now I'm really brokenhearted that I'm not going.
Yeah, I really wish you were.
I wish I was too. Who makes the big play to break the game open tomorrow? Asked Michael. Give me a name. Is it DJ Moore? Is it Chase Claypool? Is it Darnell Mooney? Or is it somebody on the defense?
I was going to say, is it a turnover?
Yeah. Chacon Brisker, another one-handed interception, takes it.
How about Jalen Johnson with an interception?
How about this for a bold prediction? 2 defensive touchdowns tomorrow and 3 from the offense.
Wow, that is bold.
Yes.
Have you been smoking that reefer?
No, but I was thinking about having a little before bedtime.
That is very, very bold. 2 defensive touchdowns?
2 defensive touchdowns.
I wish I could endorse that. I'm not sure that I can.
Man. J2K says, last time we saw Ditka, he was pissed at Nagy.
He should have been. Mike, like you said, that one spot he was doing with the big beard, he didn't look well.
Yeah. I got a story about Mike Ditka. I can't say it on the air, though. I think I told you already.
Was he the coach then, or was this after?
This was recent. Something that happened recently.
Oh.
I wish I could tell.
Well, tell me after the thing, because I'm not sure.
Yeah. Cliff asks, who will be the rookie who stands out tomorrow? He's not going to stand out because he's an offensive lineman. But when we look back at the stats that Pro Football Focus or whatever service provides these, we're going to see that Darnell Wright will have allowed 0 quarterback pressures, maybe laid out a couple of pancakes. How is it you say it?
It wasn't me. It was the
I know,
Swifty guy. I don't know. Was it pancakes? I don't know.
and that he will allow 0 sacks, 0 pressures, and accumulate a couple of pancakes. That's going to be my rookie for tomorrow.
That's worthy of a first-round pick.
That's right, baby. You know what? I was thinking about this the other day, Dan, and maybe you feel the same way. It's weird, though, that you look at the fact that we had the number 1 overall draft pick, and there really isn't a rookie who has that name, like Myles Garrett or, fucking Peyton Manning, first overall pick and so forth. But we do have DJ Moore. We do have Darnell Wright. And we got another first round draft pick next year. So it was the right thing for Ryan Poles to do, as opposed to getting a name player like a Will Anderson or
Carter,
Jalen Carter.
Yeah, that's what he does in Philly. Is gonna, if he ends up being like a Hall of Famer, and then we're never gonna hear the end of, kind of the way I never heard the end of Mahomes from you. We should have had Mahomes. I know. Let it go. What can we do?
I've let it go. I will never again mention that we should have drafted Patrick Mahomes. I promise.
I was like, man, let's support Mitch now. What else can we do?
I'm sorry, say again?
I was like, let's support Mitch now. What else can we do?
Yeah,
during
you were
that
right.
tenure.
You were right. I mean, J2K is concerned that Stevenson is going to get tested.
He's going to.
Yeah, he will. There's no doubt about it. But he's going to get tested by a fellow rookie. That's the thing. And if he doesn't win that, then let's beat the shit out of Tyreek Stevenson. I think this is a great prediction by Little Moose. My man Gordon is going to have a stellar game at the slot. In fact, I'm going to predict this. We talked about defensive touchdowns. Kyler Gordon. Why not?
Number 6.
Yep. Pressure's going to get on. He's playing that slot. It could be a tackle, loose ball. He picks it up and takes it in. That's what I'm saying.
Let's not have, as much as I advocated for Robbie to come back, let's not have a reason to say that on Monday. We don't want Cairo missing an extra point or field goal or anything that would make us say bring back Robbie after week 1.
He's still a free agent, right?
Yeah. And we don't want Cairo to miss anything. Like, he had a good preseason.
He did.
But man, please don't double doink or something tomorrow or miss extra points. Or
Packers 37, Little Bears 10. Go Pack Go. This is from Titletown. See, that's the part of that Packer, entitlement mentality. Here's a guy, who conceals his identity and just calling himself Titletown. Isn't that terrible?
I bet it's Jordan.
Jordan Silvera.
he really seems like a Green Bay guy.
He loves all 32 teams.
Yeah, on Monday,
just the Bears a little bit more.
If the Bears lose, he's going to be like, I told you so. I told you. I told you the Green Bay, you had to worry about them.
Most of his tweets start off with, I've been saying, I've said this for a long time. Let's see. Jalen Carter was the big move. We'll see what he does. Yeah, I think Jalen Carter has all the potential to be one of the great defensive linemen of all time. But does he have the self-discipline to stay out of trouble when off the field? That's a risk that Ryan Poles could not take. And so whatever happens with Carter, even if he does become one of the greats, I will still stand by Ryan Poles not choosing Jalen Carter. Now, I would have preferred Paris, the big Ohio State offensive lineman, that there would have been that nice, chemistry with Fields, but they determined that Wright was the better player. They ran him through an incredible workout.
What if Fields was like, I don't like that guy?
True.
He's like, what a bastard he is. He used to copy my notes in class.
Yeah, this is the matchup right here. Rashawn Gary versus Darnell Wright. And Titletown says he's going to whip Wright. We'll see. All right, I think that's going to do it for us. We ran a little over 2 hours. We got a nice audience here. Maybe we should do more Saturday night shows, Dan, when you're not fucking, which is like never. Reaching Dan on a Saturday night when he's home alone, never available.
I work 4 to midnight on Saturday, and then I go home and clean.
That's
my routine. No, I'm usually cleaning the house on Saturday.
You ever clean a woman's vagina before you go down there?
Or you mean like in the shower?
Yeah, or do you just entrust her to do that?
I entrust her to do that.
Oh, that's another piece of advice on how to get pussy. He's not like me. Hey, let me clean that out for you before I go down there.
You clean it for them.
Yes. Oh, what? My finger accidentally. Look at that stomach. Holy cow! How does that happen? Jeez. Look at it. Looks like she's got a bush there, Aguire.
A little bit,
right? Wow.
I've been reluctant to send you bush photos lately. Like after you said you're afraid that your wife was going to see them, I was like, oh God, I can't.
Oh my God. The other day we were looking for your travel information, and I'm scrolling down and there was those pictures.
Oh no.
So I did one of these.
Oh.
All right, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us on this Saturday night before the great big game, week 1. Let me tell you our schedule for tomorrow. In the morning, it'll be the Barfly Tailgate Show. Jordan will be on there with Aaron Current, our KB, related to Andrew Billings, and our guy, Chris Watts from across the pond. And then right after that, it'll be Fantasy Football Goon. So if you need some fantasy advice, Barroom's got you covered. Then at halftime of the game, it'll be John Buffone, Danny Schmidt, and Coach T, the new member of the Barroom. They will give you a quick analysis of halftime. Maybe Dan will call in and we'll pipe him in through the we'll talk about that before you leave, Dan.
Will I have signal at Soldier Field?
Yeah, I think you will. Or if anything, you can record something and send it to me, and then I'll plug it into the show. And then after the game, immediately after the game, join us. We're going to have a post-game show unlike any other. It should be a lot of fun. And Bears Key Film says, hopefully Manson didn't get a bush photo of Dan.
Oh, I'm a groomer.
He's a groomer. Oh, manscaping?
That's right.
Oh, look at you. So that'll be the schedule for tomorrow. And
That's a secret, too. You don't want the lady to go, what's she trying to blow you?
yes,
And she's like spitting out pubic hair. She's not going to blow you again.
it's not going to happen. And also on Monday, a programming note, Gabriel Talks Football is going to be on at 10 a.m. and making a special appearance is going to be none other than Dan Aguire on the Gabriel Talks Football show. So you better believe not only will we be talking about the Bears pounding of the Green Bay Packers, but Dan's going to have some questions for Greg about
Anthony Thomas
and about the A Train. There you go. J2K, thank you very much. Enjoyed it, and God bless you all. Please, whatever you do out there, do it safely and make sure you treat one another well. How
and
about
don't pick up a cab at O'Hare.
that? Absolutely. From what's it called? The city cab.
I have forgotten what it's called, but
Yeah.
they wanted $85. That's all I'll always remember.
That's
My $85
ridiculous.
cab ride for 20 miles.
That's ridiculous. Anyway, good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.